When working with our energy body, and in order for Kundalini to rise, our emotions are important. When we move stuck Kundalini, creative and sexual energy from our groin and lower energy centers, this really helps us to transform and release our emotions. But to really get these energies to rise, we have to forgive, accept and love ourselves. In relation to releasing trauma, anger, laughter and crying are possibly three of our most important tools. For most people, on the primal level, anger puts us into separation, and crying and laughing takes us closer to oneness. Really, do we want to hug when we feel anger? Although, as a brief side note, for some people, anger creates intimacy, but it's less common or direct. What we find during emotional detox and de-armoring work is that our emotions are layered, working through layers of anger and sadness to find more layers of anger and sadness, often with some joy thrown in through years of suppression. As we remove and work through these layers, we keep moving from separation back to oneness, and then back into separation again, from I to we and then back to I, anger to sadness, separation to non-separation, chaos to order. We are made according to the same laws of the universe, which are paradoxical in nature, making it almost impossible for us to fully understand. But eventually, after working through all of these layers, through emotional detoxing practices, we come to find a sense of bliss, inner peace, finding alignment within ourselves. For me, supporting people to work through these layers is one of the most beautiful things in the world, a true expression of our humanity. Crying generally takes us into oneness, togetherness and non-separation, as does laughing. Laughing and crying are very similar. They both take us to the bottom of an emotion, to the release. Whether we laugh or cry, it does not matter so much from the point of view of the release, as it's the same release. It's why some people start laughing at funerals, but cannot explain why. They've just got to the bottom of an emotion with some badly wired and confused logic. Occasionally, when we can get so lost in grief and crying, unable to let go of what we are crying for, that we move into victimhood, staying in separation. Although personally I've never witnessed this during a session, and it's much more likely to happen when a person feels truly lost and alone. Looking back at anger, when we fully embody our anger and rage, we go into separation, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we need to protect ourselves. If somebody runs into the room and they're about to hurt us, getting into the corner and crying, thus emotionally coming closer to them, isn't very often the best idea. Anger can also create intimacy, like if we were a child, if we're with a child and they don't look when they cross the road, or they're not doing their homework, and we don't know how else to motivate them, we might get angry because we love them and we want to protect them. And if this happens a lot for a child, then in later life that child can see anger as an expression of love, although at its base level it's still separation. Thus, as human beings, we can be very complex, so emotionally decoding ourselves with polarity and then reintegrating with a better understanding of polarity can be a very useful and enlightening process. Anger has a lot of power in it. Our rage has a lot of energy. And when we want to start changing our vibration or changing the world, we can use our anger and our passion as a force for good. So today, it's really okay to get angry, acknowledging and even celebrating our separation, our ego, and our individuality. It's an amazing gift to have this experience of being separate. And as we understand what our anger is there to teach us, we can use its power. And once we've been through all of the traumas in our own body and resolved our own anger, having healed or mostly healed our internal world, then it's really okay to create more anger for all of the injustices in the world. This might sound preachy, but please do go and get angry about the rainforest being chopped down, about the price of food going up for so many while the wages go down. This anger is designed to spur us into action and change. And as a human race, we are pretty lost without it, so please don't lose it. Going into anger and negative emotions to facilitate positive change is also fundamental to shadow work and is an important quality to cultivate before working on our sexual shadows. So if you need a little more motivation to get angry about the rainforest and other things in the world, then please know that the right use of anger will also make you a better lover.